Hey, what's up, guys? We are ready to talk NFL football. We've got 6 plays for you for the Sunday slate. How many games did you say there were? 12?
12, yep.
Jordy? All right. We do have some bye weeks. My Cardinals are on a bye, but we're ready to have some fun. So if you haven't yet, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, and as always, drop us a comment if you have any questions about any props. And takes us a little bit of time, but Jordy and I will hop on all of our tools, look at the plays that you're curious about, and we'll get back to you in the comments and let you know what we think. And yeah, a lot of times you guys are putting plays on our radar too. So yep. We appreciate that connection we can have with you guys. And as always, do us a favor and like the video. It's the best way to support the channel. We really appreciate it. You guys have been, we just hit 12,000 subs thanks to you guys. Like less than a week ago, and now we're knocking on the door of 12,100. So we appreciate you so much. Let's talk about our promos real quick before we break into the plays. So we're running this promo with Parlay Play still, and basically if you sign up for Parlay Play and you use our promo code, which is Backdoor, they're going to give you a 100% deposit match up to $100 plus a $5 promo slip. And then on top of that, for Parlay Play, we are going to add 30 days in our premium Discord if you use our code. So if you want to take advantage of that, you just have to email us at bdfantasysports@gmail.com. We just need your Discord username, your Parlay Play username, and every single day, Parlay Play hits us with an updated list of all the usernames and the ones who use the code. So we'll confirm it. We'll get you in the Discord. So definitely take advantage of that. And Parlay Play also has these cool, like fun tournaments every Sunday too for NFL, where it's just like a free to play. Everybody on the platform can go through all these picks they have set for you, and you choose. They give you like multiple choice, like passing yards, like what range is this particular quarterback going to hit. It's kind of fun, little extra like free tournament on the weekends, which I've been enjoying. And then we're also partnered with Underdog. So if you want to sign up for Underdog, use code Backdoor. You'll get up to $1,000 in bonus cash plus a free pick to help you cash your first slip. There's a link in the description of the video for all of our platforms that we're partnered with. So definitely diversify because it's a lot of fun when you're able to get the best value because you're just ready to go. Not to mention all of the like bonus cash you get for signing up. So we appreciate it. Once again, if you use that Parlay Play code, we just want to pay it forward and give you a little extra bump there with the 30 days in the Discord because you guys are helping us out. It means a lot to us. So thank you for all the support. All right. So let's talk about our plays. I'm going to be going with my first play is going to be Will Dissly. I like him to go over 8 fantasy score. And then let's see. On Underdog, the fantasy score is 7.45 because it is half point PPR. And then on Prize Picks, we're getting that 8 fantasy score as well. And then my next play is going to be Pat Freiermuth. On Prize Picks, I'm taking his fantasy score at 6.5. Wanted his receptions, but I'm happy with the fantasy score as well. But we're getting his receptions on Underdog at 2.5. I like that for more. And then Parlay Play, we're also getting the receptions at 2.5. And then my last play is going to be Cedric Tillman. I like him to go over 12 fantasy score. I believe I'm getting this on Underdog, it's 10.35. And then Prize Picks, we're getting it at 12 as well. What are you getting into, Jordy?
Yeah, so I'm going to be going with Ricky Pearsall over 2.5 receptions. Really, really liking this line. And then I'm going with Mark Andrews for over 8.5 fantasy score. And then I'm taking Calvin Ridley for over 11.5 fantasy score.
All right.
And we're getting all of that on every platform, by the way, so it's all the same. Except Underdog, we're taking Ricky's fantasy score as well. And same on Parlay Play. Ricky's fantasy score is 6.5.
All right, sounds good. So let's talk about Dissly here to get started. He's been kind of like turning the corner over the last like 5 weeks or so. He was kind of like dealing not with any major injuries, but a little bit in and out, not at 100%. But this dude is a big physical tight end who is surprisingly athletic for how big he is. But he's just a really he's kind of got like a simplified game, and it works great for the Chargers. and he's been getting more and more involved. He kind of popped off on our radar. We're kind of fans of him because we thought he had a little stint with the Seahawks back in the day, and it was just kind of like they're rotating tight ends so often. We saw multiple tight ends for the Seahawks during that run where we were just like, man, I just wish one of these guys could get like the definitive role. Well, with the Chargers, he's getting that. So it kind of popped off on our radar probably about what was like a month ago, maybe, when he was playing against my Arizona Cardinals, and he was just a PPR machine. Actually, this is the game right here. Goes for 8 receptions in that game. Thankfully, my Cards still got the dub, but that has nothing to do with us taking this play today. So let me look at this over under real quick. Here we go. So 47.5 point over under, playing in LA. And the Chargers are actually favored by 1.5. The Chargers look good, man. The Bengals offense has really been putting it together as well, but like the Chargers look better than I was expecting coming into the year, and their defense looks really solid. Like it's tough to do anything against them. You can still get it done. Like guys are still able to like pop off every now and again, but for the most part, they're a pretty balanced defense. And then their offense has been putting it together as well. So yeah, as far as the fantasy score goes, let me pull that up. So he's cleared this only 2 out of his last 5 games. And then that game against Tennessee, he absolutely just right on the dot pushed it at 8 fantasy score where this line is at. But Tennessee is a much more difficult matchup than he's got here against Cincinnati. If we take a look at, let's just look at some of these. So receptions in general, 27th in receptions allowed to tight ends. So soft matchup there, 23rd in receptions overall. And as tough as the Chargers defense is, the Bengals are, an elite offense. We have T. Higgins back, I believe, this week. Let's check this injury report. Okay, Khalil Mack questionable, so that'll change that defense a little bit, obviously. But yeah, T. Higgins should be back. So my point is, they're going to be able to. I think the Bengals are going to be able to put up some points, and the Chargers are going to have to keep up. Probably even a chance that they're playing from behind, even though I know they are favored to win this game. But my point is, the gas is going to be on for points in this game. That's why we've got that. What was it, 47.5 point over under? So that's what we like to see. And with this matchup, I just think that Justin Herbert is going to, be able to get this boy over 8 fantasy score. So yeah, last week he had 6 targets. We have that down week against Cleveland where he only had 3 targets, but then 7 targets, 11, 5. So getting us to 8, he could do this on like 4 to 5 receptions alone. But if he happens to get into the end zone, we're totally cashing this. So I like this. He hasn't gotten in the end zone in the last 5. So it's not like there's like a whole lot of upside there. Only once in the last 10 games, and that was against Arizona. But this isn't the type of play where I feel like we need him to get in the end zone. It's just if he happens to, then we're good to go. But let's just take a look at that matchup real quick. 4 touchdowns. So 29th in touchdowns allowed to tight ends are the Bengals, and overall, 30th. So he should have the opportunity to get his second touchdown of the season here. But yeah, once again, Prize Picks is full point PPR. So we could get 4 to 5 receptions and we're good to go. Now, his receptions are set at 4, but I'd rather just have the fantasy score because I think there's a chance that he's going to cash that if he happens to. I wanted to see. This is receptions. Sorry, I'm not trying to take forever on this first play, but I just want to see. Yeah, so his average yards per reception is 9.2. So if he hits those 4 receptions, which we're pushed there if we take the receptions, if he hits that, there's a chance that he could average that 9.2 and maybe have one that goes for like 15, 16 yards, and then we would be over on the fantasy score. So I'm going fantasy score. I like a little bit of everything. And then, the slim chance that he gets into the end zone, we're cashing immediately. Let's see. Forgot to have this set up. Let's just see what Daily Grind thinks about this play. Don't autocorrect me. They like it to go over. They actually have it as his best play on the board, 52.33% odds to hit the over. We've got DraftKings bumped it up all the way to 9.2 already. We have more platforms that are giving it to us at 9 or higher than 8. So I feel really good about this. They also like his longest reception at 15. That just speaks to that narrative when I was saying he could get at least one maybe that is 15, 16 yards. And if he hits his receptions, we're probably cashed here. But they like his receiving yards to go over. They like his longest reception at 15 to go over. They don't like the receptions at 4. They're favoring that slightly to the under. So yeah, I feel great about the fantasy score. That just confirms it for me. All right, so Pat Freiermuth. I like this to go over. Obviously, it looks great at first glance. 80% of the time, he's cashed this fantasy score. And we got this game against Baltimore, who's an absolute pass funnel of a defense. And this should be a pretty high over under. Let's take a look. 48.5 point over under. Baltimore favored by 3 playing in Pittsburgh. Man, how exciting have the Steelers been? They've looked good most of the year, but it's just, they're an every week must watch for me. Just entertainment value. I love seeing what's going on out there. But Pat here, he's not getting like a ton of targets. At least over this five game stretch. He was pretty active in the first 5, but yeah, did that get? Oh, that's the targets. I thought that was receptions for a second. So yeah, the reason I do feel good about him going over the 2.5 receptions, because I think this is just going to be the nature of this game here. But let's take a look at what that matchup looks like for receptions to tight ends. So they got this receptions play as an EV plus play on Outlier. But yeah, we got another super juicy matchup, 30th in receptions allowed to tight ends. And we know this is going to probably be a shootout, but I don't know. I'm super pumped for this game overall, but yeah, 30th in receptions allowed. And then as far as touchdowns go, he just got one last week against Washington. He only has 3 on the year. And then they are, Baltimore is a little bit better in the end zone, but still just a little bit above average, 11th in touchdowns allowed to tight ends, and then overall 25th. So great matchup for him overall. And then what were we? So his fantasy score was at 6. So, honestly, I feel good about the receptions at 2.5, and I like the fantasy score as well. So yeah, he's hit the fantasy score 8 out of his last 10, and then receptions 7 out of his last 10. So go with your gut. I'm playing both of these. Receptions allowed 32nd and then 30th. So he's just got a super juicy matchup. It's Pat Freiermuth. I'm feeling really good about it. Let's take a look at what the optimizer has to say about it. My apologies. I'll just go to this other one. They love his fantasy score as the best one. So, over 6, 53.59% odds to hit the over. And there are few platforms that are even giving it to us in the 6s. These are all mostly in the mid to high 7s. They don't like his receiving yards over 29.5. Longest reception over 14.5. These are just kind of in the 50-50 range. So yeah, the receptions are at 3 on Prize Picks. I agree. I'd probably just go in fantasy score at that point, because if he hits those receptions, he's probably getting that fantasy score as well. But then on top of that, if he does get in the end zone, we're good to go. Try to be a little bit quicker. Yeah, and he's averaging almost 11 yards per reception. So if he hits those 3 receptions, we're probably over 30 yards, which would get us that fantasy score. So go with your gut. I think he's good. I'm torn. If you're getting the receptions at 2.5, I love that. I love the fantasy score at 6. So go with your gut on that one. And then let's see. my last play here, Cedric Tillman, who I don't think he's getting the respect he deserves as far as the odds makers go. I like him to go over his fantasy score. I want that upside of everything from receptions to touchdowns to receiving yards. The receiving yards matchup is solid. We've got 29th in receiving yards allowed to wide receivers specifically, and then overall 28th as a team. But I know that it looks like he wasn't doing much. But we also saw a huge bump when we started to get Jameis Winston starting for the Browns here for touchdowns. Yeah, he's got 3 in his last two weeks, 1 against the Chargers, and then 2 against Baltimore. So touchdowns allowed, we are 17th overall, and then 5th. So tighter matchup here. 5th in touchdowns allowed to wide receivers. But I think he can get this done regardless. We already looked at so for the receiving yards, he's been pretty solid since we switched to Winston, but oh no, come on. I'm just struggling right now. Wanted to see his receptions. Yeah, so the receptions have been solid, 6 or more in 3 straight weeks. And then as far as targets go, awesome. 12 targets, 9 targets, 11 targets. Winston has just been slinging it and targeting him specifically. I will wrap up here. I just want to take a look real quick. So 44.5 point over under. Browns favored by 1.5. Super tight spread there, playing in New Orleans. This is going to be a fun game. And of course, like we say that there are usually like just 1 or 2 games, not even every week, but it's rare that we see a matchup that Jordy and I just aren't super stoked on because we just love football. But that's going to cover it for my plays. Actually, last thing, let me just pull up Tillman on the optimizer. They like his receiving yards over as the best play, 57.5 receiving yards. I think that looks really good too, because he is the type of player that he doesn't even need to get a bunch of receptions to go over that. They love his fantasy score to go over as well as the second best play, 50.99% odds to hit the over. And then they also like his receptions over 4.5. So yeah, if he happens to get in the end zone, we're cashing that fantasy score. This is actually even a player I might consider for the receiving yards, taking a look at what that demon line is set at. Might be, a candidate for a little demon play there. But that's going to cover my plays. If you guys want to check out Outlier, it's free. I talk about it every video, but they cover matchups, injury reports, and insights about the players. It's absolutely crucial for our research. We're so thankful to be working with them. But yeah, you just go through the link in the description. I say it's free. It's free for 7 days. Didn't mean to just say like, hey, it's free nonstop. But go through our link in the description of the video, and Outlier is going to give you a full week to test run this platform and see how you like it. I know you'll love it. So go check it out, and I'll pass it over to Jordy.
All right. Yeah. So to get me into mine here, I've got Ricky Pearsall over 2.5 receptions. I love this line. It's, a soft matchup, 23rd in receptions allowed to wide receivers. Seattle is. This is going to be a really fun game. If you look at the over-under, we got a 48 over-under with the Niners favored by 6.5. Sure. I mean, hopefully the Seahawks can keep it a little bit competitive. I mean, they will. I don't think there's a risk of blowout in this game. I wouldn't even put that out there because I think this game's going to be a lot closer than even 6.5. But, yeah, I mean, Ricky Pearsall, man, he's been awesome for a guy who got shot in the chest at the beginning of the year to come in and, hit this line 3 times already. He's been a huge part of the target share already. He's in there for 74 or 15% of the passing plays, which, they don't run a whole lot of passing plays. They ran 33 passing plays in the last game. He got 6 targets in the last game. 5 targets in his first game, 4 targets in his second game against Dallas. He went 4 for 4 in that game. 6 targets against Tampa Bay, went for 4 receptions. So he's cleared this line in every game. And even with CMC being back, he hit this line. He had even more targets to CMC back. So not worried about that whole narrative at all. Brandon Ayuk obviously is out for the year. I just want to make sure nothing else is crazy. So George Kittle's a game time decision. He's questionable. Let's see here. Yeah, so it looks like just Kittle, but that could help his narrative too. So I like this play a lot. Honestly, there's only 3 games to go off of here, so nothing too crazy to look at. This is favored to go over. It's a -123, 51.45% chance. I love this play, so definitely taking Ricky for over 2.5. And then Mark Andrews, man, he's just been awesome lately. I was so worried those first 4 games. I didn't even know who to start, and then I got good advice from Bobby. He's one of the homies, and he told me just set it and forget it with Mark Andrews. He's like, I think I was trying to decide between Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, and Tyler Conklin for my fantasy team. And he was like, I think you just set it and forget it with Andrews. And ever since I did that, he's been going off. So it's been great. It was great advice. So he's gone for 9, 15, 20, 14, 4 against Denver. That was a blowout game. They didn't really need him. And then 18.8 against Cincinnati last week. So I love what I'm seeing from Andrews. I think he's fully healthy again. Last time he played against Pittsburgh, he had 12.5 fantasy score in that last game. He's gone over this in 7 out of his last 9 games on the road. So Mark Andrews plays really well on the road. He's a safety blanket option for Lamar Jackson. So I love this play. Going to be taking this over. As you can see here, let's take a look at the matchup. 22nd in receptions allowed to tight ends. So they're giving up 5.6 receptions a game to tight ends. Pittsburgh is. So soft matchup for Mark Andrews. I think he's going to be a big part of this game because they're a tough defense, and both of these defenses are pass funnels. So I love this defense for Mark Andrews to go up against. So loving this. Taking that over. If we look at this on the optimizer, it's favored to go over -102. So the fantasy scores are always a little weird, but a 50.66% chance to go over. I'll take it. His receiving yards are juiced under at a -130. It's definitely gonna be a tough receiving yard matchup, but I like his ability to just catch the ball, and I think he'll get in the end zone, to be honest. So liking Andrews for this matchup. Then my last play here is going to be Calvin Ridley. Kind of flying through these because there's not too much to look at here, but Calvin Ridley, he's been awesome the last 3 weeks. They finally have found a way to get this guy involved. He was getting really frustrated. They brought back in Will Levis, and Will Levis has been playing okay. He's definitely not the answer to the team, but he's been doing his job and just getting the ball to this guy. So him and Calvin Ridley and Tony Pollard are like the only 2 parts of this offense that really look good at all. So, Chigakonkwo looks okay, but Calvin Ridley's been getting it done. If we look at the receiving yard matchup in this, we got a 30th in receiving yards allowed. Minnesota, as good as they've been giving up a whole bunch of air yards. So, we'll just see how they look from here on out because Sam Darnold looked horrible in that last game. But Calvin Ridley, I like this fantasy score line. He's look at his receiving yards in the last 3 games: 143, 73, and 84. I think he can put up a similar game. I think he'll be right in between that 170 range with the receiving yards, but I think he can get in the end zone as well. 2 receiving touchdowns against the Chargers, and the Chargers are a really tough defense. Minnesota's 21st in touchdowns allowed against wide receivers. So I think Calvin Ridley can get in once. If he gets in once, I think this is cashed. Loving this line at 11.5. I mean, this is such a good deal for a guy like Calvin. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much the whole narrative behind it. If we look at the receptions allowed to wide receivers, they are also 31st in receptions allowed. So the Minnesota defense is just kind of falling apart at the seams when it comes to the passing game. They're a really tough rushing defense, but their secondary struggling a little bit here. So going to be taking this over 11.5. I feel really good about all these. This one on the optimizer is favored to go over as well. 50.36% chance. So liking what I'm seeing here. If you guys want to check out Daily Grind, this is an amazing app. It's the optimizer, is the one you always see us use here, the DFS optimizer. It's awesome. It helps you confirm plays. It helps you find plays. And if you take away the search name like I have, if you go to NFL here, they'll just show you all the top plays. So you can see the top over is Quentin Johnston for over 3 receptions. They got that up at a -142. So go with your gut on that one. It's because most other platforms have it at 3.5 already. So go with your gut on that. But I mean, the odds look great on that. So that's kind of the cool thing about the optimizer here, is it shows you the best value right at the top. So you can put in the best plays and make hopefully a winning slip. So if you guys want to check this out, they'll give you 25% off of your first purchase. So if you want to lock that in for a couple months or a year, you can do that, and they'll give you 25% off that very first purchase. Just use code BACKDOOR at checkout. There's a link in the description for that, dgfantasy.com. And then if you guys want to check out Chalkboard, they're going to be running a whole bunch of specials tomorrow for the NFL. They're going to, they run like 6 specials a day per sport sometimes. Like they'll have 6 for like the NBA tomorrow and 6 for the NFL most likely. So a lot of value to be had over on Chalkboard. Just use code BACKDOOR at checkout, and they'll give you a 100% match up to $100, and they'll give you a free play to help you cash that first slip. So that's going to cover it all for me.
All right. I just locked that in and threw it in the Discord. Speaking of the Discord, if you guys want to come join us, we have a lot of fun in here. You should definitely come join us. I'm super thankful for this community because I was hopeful when we started this channel, but we couldn't be happier with just the nice, cool people that are a part of our family in here. So if you want to come join us, you can take advantage of that Parlay Play promo, and you'll get 30 days to check it out. If you would like, you could also, if you're not, looking to do that. Sorry, I'm like all over the place here. I'm moving a little bit slower in the NFL video, but if you want to jump right into the Discord, you just go through Patreon and you sign up there. It manages our subscriptions, and once you're signed up, you go into the settings. There's a connected apps option in the menu bar, and then it has an option for you to log right into your Discord from there. You can hop in the community chat. I will say we put a note on the Patreon, but I just want to make sure you guys know, as of November, the App Store for Apple started adding a tax to all of their apps to be in the App Store. So yeah, it's a weird situation, but if you're signing up for our Discord through Patreon, you're going to want to go, if you're on an Android phone, you're fine. If you use any sort of web browser, you're fine. But specifically through the iPhone, if you do that, they put an Apple tax on it. So we don't want you guys paying more than you need to be a part of our community. So there are different ways, but you'll see it if you sign up through Patreon. We put a note on there to let people know to avoid that tax. But I want to just make sure that everyone knows that that's out there as well. So yeah, come join us. We're also on X, TikTok, Instagram. It's all just at BackdoorFS. And then me, Jordy, Moose, who's another analyst in our Discord. We have all of our handles in the description as well. If you want to come say, hey, we post plays in addition to the video, we post plays on X as well. So come say, hey, but enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys. We have some fun UFC to get into. We have more basketball tonight, and then we've got this killer NFL slate tomorrow and a ton of basketball. So we'll be putting our basketball picks video out before the slate, as long as, we both have church early tomorrow. So as long as we get a populated board at a decent time tonight, because sometimes we're up at like 3 a.m. waiting and it's just trash on the board. So hopefully, fingers crossed, we get an early population of the board, and we'll get that video out to you tonight. But we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Good luck, guys.